Hello and welcome back to our little series on character movement. This time we take the same character as we had before, but we want to add an animation of the walking of the character that we had. So here I have a version of the program that is quite similar to what I had before. Let me just quickly show you the changes I've made already. So first of all, my main loop here, I've moved it out of the my code section and put it in a main loop section. So I have a main loop function now that has just my main loop in it. And that is because as my game grows, the main loop will get longer and longer the more commands I have. And I don't like to have too much code in the my code section. That should really just be the initial setup and the call to the main loop. And then it is here. So that's one change. The other change I can show you here in my setup method. If I expand it again, I have now more images. I have shown you last time already that I had made these image characters. So I have here of my character characters where one leg is up or the other leg is up, where the legs are together here in the sideway movement or in a step. And I am still not using all the images, but here I can show you what I'm doing. I have two images facing left, one with the legs together, one with the legs apart. Then the same for the right movement. I have up the one with one leg up and the other leg up, and then the standing one, the same for facing forward, one leg up, the other leg up, and both legs down. So these images I have put in here, I have put them into lists. I have one list called left images. It's a list of length 2 that has my two left images in it, one list with the two right images in it, and so on. So I've got 4 separate lists here. And then what I'm doing is I'm putting these lists into a dictionary. So I have my dictionary as before with the left keyword. So the key is left, but now the value is not an image. The value is a list of images. So every direction now has a list, a short list of images associated with it. When we are walking, we will alternate between the first two images. So we will take the images at index 0 and 1, and we will just flip back and forth between them. So I have here, now I'm passing in player image left. This now here is not an image anymore. You have, if you've just understood what we just said, this is a list of images. So here in my move method, I need to make a change now, because if I were trying to run this wouldn't work anymore. If I try to run this, there we are, and I press my key, I'm getting an error, a type error here, because I'm trying to set the image. That is the code that I had before from my previous version, and image is not an image. Image is actually, I should rename this now. I name it images. It's a list of images. So here, if I say images 0, then I'm taking in the first image out of the list and I'm showing it. So if I run this again now and I'm going left, I'm going right, I'm going up, I'm going down, the movement works, but the images, of course, are not animating yet. So what I want to do is I want to not always show the same image. I want to show alternating images. So here in my setup, I'm creating a global variable, and I call it image number. So I assign image number and I'm starting with 0. So here in my move method where I'm showing the images, I'm using not a fixed 0, but I'm using my image number as my index, and then I'm saying image, oops, that was an assignment. Image number is image number plus 1. Then I take all this, put parentheses around it, and say modulo 2. So this, if you think about it, will alternate the image number between 0 and 1. If that is not clear to you, look up the modulo operator and find out what it does. This will alternate between 0 and 1. So if image number was 0, next time it will be 1. If it was 1, next time it will be 0. So it takes out either the image at index 0 or the index 1 out of my list of images. Let's try that out. Here we oops, and again we have a error. It says local variable not referenced. Yes, that is because this one is a global variable, so I must say that I want to use the global variable image number, and I'll try that again. This time, now I can see my character runs back and forth here on the screen, and it works also with up and down movement. This animation is a little bit too fast for me, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop this. I am going to go down and say make the pace a lot slower. So let's say I use 8 to make it a much slower movement. And of course, if I make my loop run this slowly, then I will also move more slowly. So here, if I do this now, the movement of the legs now looks fine. But I want to also maybe increase the speed here a bit so that I get forward a little bit more. So let's move that to say 25, and let's try that out again. And we see now we have the legs moving, and I'm moving. When I'm stopping though, I'm standing here with a leg up. So one last thing I want to do is when I'm standing still, I want to stand with both legs down again. So I want to use, say, this image, the last image from the down images. And so if I go to my if statement here in my main loop, I have changed the independent if statements to else if, so that I can now have an else at the moment, and I can have a case that gets executed when no key was pressed at all. So I say in this case, I want to do a player dot set image, and I want to use player image. I want from my down list. So I'm taking the down list. So this is now the list of images that is associated with the down, and I take index 2 out of that list. That is the still standing image. So if I do this now and I run this again, going left, I'm going right, and every time I stop moving, I'm getting back to the image where I'm just standing facing forward. And here we are. And that's where we leave it for today. That is the end of the explanation how you can get a character with 4-directional movement and an animated walking effect. See you next time.